Hello, guys, and welcome to another exciting installment of Picture This Film Reviews. I'll be your host this evening, Dan,
Cayla.
and
My name is Matt.
Matt. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We're excited to have you for, we'll say, is the creme de la creme of films. Today we'll be looking at a Michael Keaton film known as The Birdman. So, talking a little bit before kicking this off, sorry guys, I just
Very
wanted
professional.
yeah, thank you so much. I'm trying to be more like my idol over in the other screen with the Dolly Parton shirt. Um, just wanted to let you guys know. I think we're gonna keep the reviews pretty short, sweet, to the point. Excited to hear, what everybody has to say about this, especially because Michael Keaton has been at the top of a lot of our reviews recently. He's making what Matt called, or I'm sorry, it is what Matt called in the previous episode, the Michael Keaton Renaissance, and I would agree with him. We are all for it.
I like that.
And honestly, we're just gonna dive right into it. So I'm not sure who wants to take this first. Nobody?
I guess
Okay.
or you can go, Matt.
No,
Whatever.
it doesn't matter.
Okay, I'll just go because I think this was kind of a little bit of a recommendation, maybe by me, like kind
Yeah.
of. I had to we had to watch a film for class that had and it had to be an Oscar nominated film, and it had to be a winner for best original or adapted screenplay, either or. So we had to go through a list, and I saw Birdman on there, which I was actually surprised. I didn't realize that it had won the Oscar for that. But I saw Birdman. I was like, I've been wanting to watch Birdman. I like Michael Keaton now. I'm a Michael Keaton fan, obviously.
Especially when he's in glasses.
Yes, which there were none in this, so I was kind of disappointed. There was like a toupee thing, which I was like, I could get down with that a little bit.
See, Matt, you come in with that 2K on the next episode. Woo!
Anyway, so that's why we all watch this. I guess I'll just start. I don't really know, because I think if I remember correctly, I was reading that this won 4 Oscars, so it kind of swept the Oscars that year. I think it was 2013 or 2014.
I think it's 14.
So it won Best Director, Best Film, Best Adapted Screenplay, and then something else, cinematography. So I was really surprised. Not because it was a terrible movie, because it really wasn't. And I can't remember off the top of my head what this was going against. But do I think that it should have won Best Picture? No. But reading the script today, because that's also another thing that we have to do, is we're trying to base it off the script. I can see why it won Best or Adapted Screenplay. It won that because this versus what was on the script versus what we saw was actually very well done. I'm trying to think if there was like anybody that I don't know. No, I think like all of the characters, in my opinion, were kind of like not the typical characters that you want to root for or you necessarily like, but it's a story to be told there. But my favorite part of this, and this is what I'm going to wrap up with, is that when you look at the characters in this particular film, they reflect identities of real actors. So Edward Norton was like, this pretentious actor who didn't really get along with a lot of people. A lot of actors said that, he's a pain to work with. We don't like to work with him. And that's exactly what his character in this film represented. And then Michael Keaton, you've got the guy who starred in these action movies, 25 years later at this point, who they say are kind of like washed out. Can he really transition to this different type of genre? Is he this versatile actor or whatever? And I think that kind of represented a certain point in his life too, 25 years later coming out of that. So I like that they did that. I like that whole aspect. So I think that part was great. I don't think it was an Oscar really worthy picture, but that's just my opinion. But if you want to watch something that is different than what you've normally seen from Keaton, or just a different type of, cinematography, then this is the route to go.
Very nice. Dan, would you like to go?
Sure. I appreciate you offering the mic over to me, sir. Appreciate that. So in this film, it's different than a lot of things that I'd probably sit down to watch. In the way that it was portrayed, I think that the word I had talked to Cayla about, like, it seemed very meta. And when she described, the premise of how the actors were basically imitating the people that were playing them in real life, it did kind of make sense, and it just kind of stuck with me again that you said that this was not written necessarily with Michael Keaton in mind, but you could 100% believably see it being about Michael Keaton. Like, it's not that far of a stretch. With that being said, I know I say that a lot. I apologize. Uh, I thought that it was more of a commentary about, in particular, two kinds of I'll call them artists or actors. I think that was really the vocal point and the center point of this, is how we look at those in theater and those in the big picture, in the movie theaters, as being two separate entities, and that each one necessarily didn't think that the other had what it took in order to fulfill the role. So we're looking at, I can't remember what Michael Keaton's character's name. Please forgive me.
Regan. Yeah.
Regan. When we're looking at it through his viewpoint, his inner monologue talks a lot about how, he was very successful in a movie star. As a movie star, he soared above these other people, that basically they were beneath him, and he was an elevated, almost godlike person. And you do see parts of that when he's running outside, where he's locked out of the theater, and they're all tracking him down. He's still got that celebrity status. He's still got people trying to post him on TikTok and Twitter and gaining that little bit of fame there. But then I know we had kind of a tag team, the movie critic and also Edward Norton's character, where Edward Norton is more theatrically trained. How the critic would say, "Have I ever given you a bad review?" And then immediately on the offset, she's 100% against Michael Keaton and his play, not even giving it a chance, just saying, "I'm going to destroy your play. I'm going to kill your play, just because you're a Hollywood actor and you guys don't deserve it." And I thought, I don't know, like, the end is what really brought this to a head for me when it came to the final moments. And really, it was that review that the critic had wrote, that he had ignited a new way in theater, that he actually put his blood, sweat, and tears into this film, because he literally shot himself. Yes, both ways, shot his nose off. I would assume that he was potentially trying to kill himself, which, the end of the movie, I'll have to kick that over to you, see if you have any explanation on. But she's like celebrating the fact that he almost killed himself for the art, and she looked at that as the true thing that an artist could do. And that was something that Edward Norton's character continually came back to, was, "Oh, the food is fake, the stuff in here is fake, how your acting is fake, and all these things are fake." And in the end, it was Michael Keaton's character that was so real that he almost ended his own life. Um, and really, to me, as I felt, and again, I don't typically sit down and watch movies like this, but again, to me, it was a commentary more so than it was something purely for entertainment. So I understand why the screenplay would get the nominations it got. The acting, I was blown away by. I thought that each one did, exactly. And if it was just imitation of the personality, then the casting was freaking phenomenal, perfect for this. Especially if it wasn't written for them, bravo, because dang, like, I could see it. And then the one I was surprised about the most, and it's probably going to blow your minds, I freaking loved Zach Galifianakis in this role. It was something I'd never seen him do, like so serious and on point, but he did so well. And Kayla was telling me it was an interesting fact she was looking up because she had again had to look at variations of the screenplay versus the actual movie. They had some kind of contest to see. Apparently, Michael Keaton is a perfectionist when it comes to delivering lines, as is Edward Norton. I mean, no surprise there, right? And they had a contest back and forth to count how many times they messed up their lines versus how many times everybody else messed up their lines. So,
It was
go ahead.
Emma Stone came in first. She messed up the most. And then it was Zach Galifianakis that came in last. He messed up the least. And they said it was because he had such a funny way of delivering his lines that he was able to play off the mistakes as if it were his character, and he did it flawlessly. So I don't know, I thought that was interesting to see that both of them, I mean, it kind of reflects, their characters there just by doing that.
It's a parallel to the movie, like with Edward Norton
right.
talking about how he memorized everybody else's lines, and Michael Keaton's character's like, wow, you remember that? You know all those lines? Like, yeah, I got to read with da 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 every day we're delivering this. And then the oh my gosh, another one, I can't remember her name. The actress that is it Naomi Watson?
I mean, Emma Stone too.
No, the lady from The Office that played the ex-wife. I assume. I was surprised she popped up, the mother of the daughter at least. But she popped up. She was very good in that role. I think we also saw her in a movie that we reviewed, My Beautiful Boy. She's a great casting.
Also in Beau's Afraid.
She is in Beau's Afraid, which
Who is she in that?
She was the lady that's in the house with Nathan Lane.
She's the wife?
Yeah.
I didn't put that together.
So speaking of Beau's Afraid, I'm gonna let you know, to the viewer that's probably watching this, has suggested this movie. I'm going to try to finish this, and we are going to talk about it. So just hang in there. We're getting there, but I don't want to drag on. I said I was going to be really quick in my review, and I obviously was not. So I'm going to kick this finally over to Mr. Matt.
Hey, so Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, as it was subtitled. This was a movie that was getting a lot of hype back in 2014, because not only was it featuring kind of like Michael Keaton's big, in a way, kind of Michael Keaton's big return, just like we're kind of experiencing again now. But he was nominated for an Oscar, and not only that, but the film was nominated for an Oscar. It kind of mirrored his life. He plays this character who was known for this comic book superhero movie, Birdman, where he did a couple movies and then didn't do the sequels. He's had like a fading out, dying career. And then he's trying to do a big comeback with this Broadway show. He's written it and he's directing it with his friend, played by Zach Galifianakis. He's got his daughter working for him as like an assistant, and she's like this grumpy kind of character. And then we have an accident happens, a light falls on one of the actors' heads, and we need a new actor, and in comes Edward Norton to save the day. He's kind of like Edward Norton is in real life, as mentioned. He's well known, but maybe not for all the best reasons. And he's a method actor, and he starts to get on Regan's or Michael Keaton's nerves. I watched this in the theater. I watched this, I think, once when it came out on Blu-ray back in the day, and then I haven't seen it since until today. I watched it as we're recording this. I think the concept of the long, continuous scenes is very interesting. I think it works. I think it pulls in the viewer. It makes them pay attention. The movie, I think, is kind of clearly, as we've already kind of hinted at, it's a satire of not only of these lives, these actors that are playing these characters, but then also a look at Hollywood itself, and being relevant and staying relevant in the entertainment industry. For me, Edward Norton is a standout. I think he definitely had the most fun character. I just chuckled at a lot of his lines. The entire cast does a great job, especially Zach Galifianakis. Shout out to him as well. Like Dan said, he did a great character here. Emma Stone was also phenomenal, and of course Michael Keaton, who got his first ever and to date only Oscar nomination. He didn't win, but got his only Oscar nomination for this film. I really, really enjoy this film.
I guess we're diving in now that we've wrapped up the commentary, unless you have a rebuttal or anything you'd like to offer.
No, but I totally forgot about the long continuous shot. I think that definitely, it makes you realize when there is not consecutive scenes or cut to parts, and it almost, and Dan and I were talking about this, it's filmed at like an eye level, like somebody is walking along with them making this kind of documentary mockumentary kind of thing, and it's so cool because it's like you're peering through somebody's eyes watching this happen. So I thought, and I forgot to mention that because it escaped my brain, but that part was very, very cool.
I thought too, it was funny when we were watching this. We're probably like 8 minutes in, and then it's finally like something clicked inside my brain, and I think Cayla's too. Is like, what's going on here? Like, it's not panning like a normal movie. It's doing something different, and you definitely hit the nail on the head on that.
I also just real quick want to say before we get into the ratings, one of my favorite scenes in this, and it's not anything that anyone would ever pick out. I'm bizarre like that. There's a scene where Keaton is talking to the lady from The Office, the ex-wife or the mother of his child, and he's basically confessing to her that he wishes he had been there. I thought that was fantastic acting on both parts, and that scene moved me so much then in 2014 that Hollywood and directors and actors are all, they all mimic each other. Everything is a remake or a reboot or a retelling of something, right? So I made a little flick back in 2020 called I'm Not Really Here, and there's a moment in that movie where the character that I play says a very similar, almost verbatim line to his ex-wife about their son, about wishing that he had been there for the moment and missing the moment. And it's because of this movie. So that's just a little nod there that I thought I'd throw out.
Guys, again, if you haven't watched it already, you may see I'm Not Really Here on Matt Knows Best. So
it's on the channel.
Click out the picture of this channel. It is on there. So check that out.
But view this video in its entirety.
Yeah, you gotta watch this whole thing first before you go over there.
But we're almost done, so no worries.
So yeah, we're getting to that point of the show. We talk about ratings. It feels so strange because the last one we didn't have ratings because it's a movie that's not even out yet.
Right.
So kick back to Beetlejuice and watch the next one that comes after this. Watch all the episodes. But all right, Birdman. I guess Cayla, you started it. Where are you putting this on a scale 1 to 5?
This has
3.5 stars. I'm gonna take a page out of Matt's book. Matt says, "I don't do half stars. I don't do half stars. Honestly, I liked it more than I thought I would. I'm not gonna say it was the best thing I've ever watched. Again, I have probably lower standard movie tastes than the rest of the world. But I think I'm gonna put this at a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm gonna give him an 80%. How about you, Mr. Matt?
Rewatching again today, I mean, my love for it wasn't as strong as it was back then, but it's still, I think it's a great film. So for me, it's a 5-star.
Woo!
Dang.
That's impressive work, Michael Keaton. If you're viewing this video, you should be aware. We appreciate you, number one, but number two, you should be aware that getting the 5 stars out of Matt's high praise. So,
yeah, come do a cameo.
Congrats. Yeah, come on to our show, Michael Keaton.
But wear your glasses.
Wear your glasses for Cayla.
Did you see did you ever see the Saturday Night Live that he did a few years ago where he's on stage and the other two guys are, and I don't know their names because I don't watch Saturday Night Live like that, so I apologize. But the other two guys are with him and they start singing this, they break into song like, will you play Batman with us, Michael Keaton? And it's like a whole routine. Will you play Beetlejuice with us, Mike? And so I it made me think of that when you said come to a cameo. Like, will you come play with us, Michael Keaton?
Yeah, will you come talk with us, Michael Keaton?
Yes.
Maybe on Beetlejuice too. That would be freaking phenomenal. But yeah, there you had it. Overall, pretty good marks across the board for Birdman. And I guess with that, we're starting to wrap up our show. And as we often do, I know we kick it off back to Matt. I'm gonna let him sing it away with the tagline for the show and all that good stuff and his little Mr. Rogers moment. So Matt, you wanna wrap it up for us? Will you say goodbye for us, Matthew Winstead?
Everybody have a fantastic week. And of course, love one another.
See you guys.